Hi, I'm Sonia Luna, CEO and founder of Aviva Spectrum, an internal audit and compliance consulting firm headquartered in sunny Los Angeles, California. I'm also a speaker and writer on topics like COSO 2013, SOX 404, quality assessment reviews, internal auditing, and related topics. Today's interview, which I'm really excited about, is with Allyson Bouldon. Allyson Bouldon is a VP and Chief Compliance Officer at Chiquita Brands International. Chiquita, for those of you who have been living under a rock, is the leading international marketer and distributor of high-quality fresh food products, including Chiquita bananas and Fresh Express salads, with over 21,000 employees on 6 different continents. Prior to joining Chiquita, Allyson was the Assistant General Counsel of Labor and Compliance for Mead Johnson Nutrition Company, and also served as a VP and General Counsel to Tegrant Corporation. She is a graduate of the law school at the University of Chicago and Dartmouth College. Ms. Bouldon is past president of the Association of Corporate Counsel in the Chicago chapter, and is a fellow of the American Bar Foundation, an author and speaker. As a matter of fact, she will be a presenter at the Compliance and Ethics Institute Conference in Chicago, September 14th through the 17th. Her workshop is entitled, Hey, Don't Let Culture Happen to You, Understanding and Leveraging Your Culture for Ethics and Compliance Effectiveness, which you can register for the conference at www.complianceethicsinstitute.org. Welcome, Allyson. It's a pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you, Sonia. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I know we have been hunting you down for quite some time. We've been trying to get somebody in the counsel space to talk about this exact issue, okay? And one of the things that we were coming up with in terms of what our listeners wanted to know most about was, how does a compliance executive, first measure what type of culture, that they have, and then how should they align that culture to core business strategies?
Certainly. Well, Sonia, this is a key determination, and, the assessment can start as early as the interview process. So for public companies, you might want to take a look at the types of compliance and ethics documents that are posted on the company's website. Is there corporate governance guidance posted for the board of directors? Is there a code of conduct? If so, what is the tone of that code? Are relevant regulatory developments listed on the website? Is there supplier data? What does the privacy information look like? All of these things can provide very helpful windows into the company's culture. And of course, once you're on site, you have the benefit of reviewing recent employee surveys, compliance risk reviews, ERM risk reviews. These are all valuable resources. I'm also a very, very strong believer in face-to-face introductory meetings, especially if you're working across several geographies and cultures, because you need to build that rapport. And through building that rapport, you can learn about the business strategies at a deeper level than what you will receive if you solely read the business strategy documents that the company may have.
So it's not just going through what's available, let's say, to the public, but also that face-to-face rapport-building exercise, and really getting a sense of, here are the words, and these people are also validating those words on different documents that are available, and then hopefully there's some action, obviously, behind those words to align to say, they mean what they say, because I can see that they're doing exactly what they say they're going to be doing. So that's one way of kind of aligning. It seems like that's what you're saying is obviously start from the very obvious, which is, there's plenty of stuff, especially if it's a public company, and I completely agree with you. There's a ton of documents that someone could read. But then it's that human, it's that face-to-face interaction, getting or being in touch with those folks in the field or in the operation, so to speak. I mean, is that kind of one of the best practices that you've learned over the years?
Absolutely. Especially, again, if you're going across cultures. In the U.S., we are pretty open as from a cultural perspective. So we are fine with phone calls and social media and email outreach, but depending on where you are in the world, it really helps if you make that live touch, or at the very least a personal touch, meaning a personal letter or personal email, something that shows the recipient that you are reaching out to meet with them and to better understand them, their business challenges, their day-to-day work, and how you can help. So yes, I'm a huge fan of face-to-face live meetings if your budget permits. And the other item that I called out that I think can be very helpful is recent employee surveys. If those surveys are done anonymously, you'll often get, frankly, very very open feedback from employees, and that can be very valuable as well.
Yeah, it's a good indicator of what, especially when, like you stated earlier, I mean, anonymous, people are more open to share their true their true words when they really are when they know it's anonymous and they know that there's no, it's hard to find out who exactly said certain things or wrote certain things, which leads me into something that I was recently at a conference this week, actually, and we were talking about emails and then this concept of mega data, okay? And I wanted to kind of get your thoughts, just best practice thoughts, okay? What do you think is the most effective way an organization can gather and use data, okay, to predict or forecast or to analyze, let's say, compliance risks? Because there's just so much data out there, a number of transactions, emails, all kinds of stuff. I mean, what have you seen as either the best practice or, let's say, a leading trend that works best for large organizations?
Sure. Well, I would say taking a look at your historic helpline data can be a great indicator of potential risk. So if you are subject to the SOX guidelines, you're offering a way for employees to call anonymously. We're permitted by local laws to ask questions or raise concerns. Here, we call that process our helpline, and that data is just very, very helpful. You can see whether you're getting patterns, meaning a lot of calls from certain geographies, or if you're getting repeats of issues, and all of that can be very, very helpful. Other things that can be very helpful are discussions with your internal business partners. The internal audit group members, for example, tend to be very, very knowledgeable, and they can be very helpful to compliance because they typically have people on the ground. They are very well versed in the company's policies and procedures, and because of their audit work, they are up close and personal, and they see what works and what hasn't worked as well.
And what lessons do you think you've seen in the field where a large organization can extract, the best sets of data? Because what I'm noticing, and this is where I was kind of coming in with the question, is that we see more JPEG files, we see more, WAV files, we see text, obviously, files, we see number type files. And to do compliance, right, a practitioner really needs to get a hold of best of breed practice of how to get that best sets of data. Have you seen any of anything in the field that you've seen works really, really well, or things that it's just mediocre? Our technology hasn't evolved yet. What's your thought on that?
So I think many companies are evolving their technologies, but I suspect that most have not gotten to their endpoint just yet. First of all, depending on where you are in the world, there are privacy restrictions. And so even if you have the technology to cull your emails and cull all of the files that folks have on their shared drives or their personal drives, there could be restrictions to the company seeking to do that. So I think what I've typically seen is live interviews, reviews of helpline data, employee surveys, and then review of the actual data that the system has only in specific cases. So if there's an investigation, or if we are literally trying to find instances where certain policies came into focus. Those would be cases where we would literally be culling the data. But otherwise, I think it can be a little bit fraught.